Uncle Alderic has been on the internet for a long time. I grew up here. I've seen my neighborhood change from Friendster testimonials and blogspots with MIDI music playing to now TikTok and ChatGPT. But the more things change, the more they stay the same. Over the decades, I still hear bad advice like don't care about what others think or ignore the haters being peddled on the streets. And as someone who has eaten 1,000 hate comments by now, it is in my humble opinion that they are wrong, or at the very least incomplete. So today we'll be visiting 3 restaurants in Sentosa, debunking and unpacking one bad advice at each place. And I know what you might be wondering. Okay, Unc, but why Sentosa? You didn't come all the way here just to play into the beach episode 3. Hello, we are starting at CHIFA. So this is a Peruvian Chinese restaurant, and the name comes from when Peruvians first heard Chinese, they were hearing us say 吃饭吃饭, but to their ears it sounded like CHIFA. So I believe this is what Peruvian Chinese cuisine is called, CHIFA cuisine. Don't look at me like that, I didn't write this. Anyway, to start, we have a mussel soup with olives, cabbage, some pickles. Let's give this a go. This is our suan cai tang that went on exchange. Very bright, very appetizing, but it's obvious that the pickle stand is very different. I'm not sure how the authentic version is supposed to taste, but the mussel flavor is actually very light. I don't even know what you take as authentic. The CHIFA version or the suan cai version. But very nice, very appetizing. I also appreciate the bowl. Keeps it hot for very long. You can see even now, there's still smoke. Very good, let's move on to our mains. Taipa CHIFA. I might be butchering the pronunciation, but maybe one could guess we are talking about 铁板吃饭, which doesn't make sense. But we have what is sliced okra, carrot, black fungus, egg, quail egg, prawn. I'm not too impressed with okra and carrot in 炒饭. Oh, sorry, I mean 铁板饭. I always found it very home economics. Anyway, let's dig into it. This is like if you go to Zhichao with your family and you get a little bit of 炒饭 and you cut out a little bit of the 铁板豆腐and you put on top. The sauce, the egg, tastes 90% like it. The quality is very high. The prawn is very fresh. The chicken thigh has been marinated. The texture of the rice has been handled well. And even the pork slices, I suspect, are of pretty good quality. But with how I grew up, I cannot be excited. It is unfair, but I'm very likely not the target audience. Let's move on to dessert. For dessert, we have a coconut mango sponge cake with edible flowers. And what is this? With more shaved coconut, I believe. But they didn't give me utensil. Oh well. It's time for free will. With desserts like this, I always find that it's about getting the sweetness right. Sweet enough to keep you interested, but not so sweet that you feel like it's love bombing you. Wait. And then from there, how much fragrance it can exude with its ingredients. I would say this is 20% too sweet for me and average on the fragrance. You do get mango, you do get coconut, you do get a cream, but it's not interacting at a more meaningful level, if you will. And that brings us to our first bad advice of the day. Don't care about what others think. This is the worst. This is a surefire way to fail in whatever you're doing, or even as a human being in general. People love this because it's so empowering to say, it's so badass, but it's also so stupid. As a business, you need to care about your customers. As a kid, you need to care about what your parents or trusted peers think. As a dish, you need to keep evolving with feedback. You know who doesn't care about what others think? Sociopaths, literally, by definition. Every opinion, true or false, positive or hateful, serves as a data point. You do not take any one of them as the answer. You aggregate all of them with openness and integrity. The more accurate version of the advice should be to finish caring about what others think. After you have processed 1,000 data points, you gain a level of self-awareness that is very powerful. For example, if I took this dish back and told that chef that it's garbage. If the chef has done the work and finished caring about what others thought, he might know that out of 1,000 people, 923 thinks that this is good, the other 77 not so much. He might ask me what's wrong in order to reduce these 77, but in all likelihood, he will not be too bothered. But if he didn't have this information, he might feel insecure, he might lash out. He might say things like, I don't care what you think. And then I think a restaurant that says that to the people that they are trying to feed will not survive. But Alderic, I hear you ask, does this mean that I have to listen to the haters as well? Yes, but we'll leave that for later. Let's move on to our next spot. We are now at Two Chefs Bar, and we are here for the Two Chef Especial, which is a typical beef patty burger with pulled pork. We also have a slice of tomato, lettuce, and onion ring. Nice here on the patty too. Let's get into it. Good burger. A lot of flavors. You get the beefy patty, you get the pulled pork, you get the mayonnaise, and you got the very well melted cheese. You talk about heartbeat of a dish, this burger is like the guy you wanted. But there's a rare, yet quite consequential miss. The burger is dry, and while it's very tempting to say that the patty is overcooked, I don't think it is. If you look closer, there's still a tinge of pink. It doesn't feel super dried out. So instead, the fat content in the patty is actually rather low. You can see how robust the patty is. There's barely any gaps left behind by rendered fat. So that means the burger as a whole is drier and has less richness because of the lack of fat. Beef fat or beef grease is very important in a burger. Which brings us to the second bad advice I have for you today. The classic, ignore the haters. It's too easy. If you're bad, everybody sounds like a hater. And if you don't realize this, you'll continue being bad. So the more accurate version would be to understand the haters. There are generally 3 levels of hate comments. The first is honest critic without tact. This is the most understandable one because it's difficult to convey tone with text, nor do people bother with strangers on the internet. So using this burger as an example, this might sound like, bro, that burger looks terrible. Your filming skills CMI. Ouch! But it does ask valid questions. Am I lighting the burger properly? Did I move too slow during B-roll filming such that the burger dried out? What are a burger's best angles? All of which are opportunities to grow if you're willing to brace yourself and listen. The second type are your trolls, or more recently coined, rage baiters. These are cheeky little duckers that derive joy from baiting an emotional response from you. So these people might say, that burger looks like somebody stepped on it. How much did they pay you to feature them? McDonald's is 1,000 times better. Remember what I said? Understand the haters. Who do you think these people are? Take a good look at society. Who do you think says such stuff? You want me to spoil it for you? It's your naughty little cousin or nephew who thinks they're so funny for saying such things. Or someone who hasn't grown out of that phase. There's no malice, it's mischief. When you realize that, you'll feel so silly for feeling offended. You can banter back if you want, but personally I just push them out of the room and lock the door, just like during Chinese New Year. And then we reach the third type, the real haters, the projectors. These people are in a very bad phase of their lives, hurting, such that everything they see, they feel like lashing out. They are convinced that the world around them is a terrible place, that everyone is against them. This is nothing special. I'm sure most of you watching this remembers how it was like during your rock bottom phase. If you cannot relate to that, you have led a blessed life. But don't worry, your turn will come. Life gets everyone. So these people might say something like, why do you go all the way to Sentosa to eat overpriced burgers? Stop acting like a food expert thinking you're better than everybody else. This is the hardest one to tackle because the antidote is self-awareness. And to have self-awareness, you need to have finished caring about what others think. That will inform you whether there's any truth in the comment. In this particular case, I know that in the past 6 years of making videos on the internet, I have never once referred to myself as a food expert, nor do I think of myself as better than others. If anything, I think of myself as worse than others. But I'm working on that. I also know, objectively, that I do not come across as snobbish because I've listened to tens of thousands of opinions on me. I have finished caring about whether people think I'm snobbish. With that, then I can safely infer that there is some sort of projection going on in this comment, that my words somehow trigger some insecurity in this person, that this commenter might not be in the best headspace. At this point, you can choose to respond with empathetic kindness, but in my experience, they won't buy it. They are too convinced of their circumstances. Which leads us to the final bad advice of the day, kindness. We are now at Tanjong Beach Club. Pretty good weather today, but I still need to get myself an ice long black. Pretty garbage. But taste +2 because my feet are touching sand. Anyway, our final bad advice of the day is it costs nothing to be kind. Oh my goodness, so naive and stupid. Am I becoming a hater after the previous talk? Of course it costs something. Every kind act requires energy, time, restraint, or some sort of sacrifice. If you treat someone a meal, you lose money. If you offer your seat, you lose your seat. If you even pay a compliment, you risk being misunderstood. Not to mention that there will always be people who wants to take advantage of kindness. It's literally the basis of the multi-billion scam industry. The challenge for kind people is not to give. That comes naturally. It is to draw boundaries and find like-minded people so that you enrich yourself enough to pay the price of being kind. Life for kind people is like a series of prisoner's dilemma. Every interaction with a cruel person drains you, while every interaction with a kind person enriches you. Ideally, you would love to surround yourself with only good people, but life is imperfect. You are bound to have that one toxic friend, colleague, or God forbid, family member who isn't good for you. So the idea is to make sure that your core group enriches you enough so that you have access to give. Because that is part of the idea of kindness. You cannot just be kind to your in-group. You put a little something ever so often into the world, not just to make the world a better place, but because it makes you happy to do so. There are costs to being kind, but fortunately, it also pays very well if you're in the right place. And that's all I have for you guys this time. A little bit of a heavier video this week, but I wanted to do this because I realized that a lot of youths watch my videos. And to the kiddos, it took uncle years to realize what I just told you, decades to understand it, and perhaps a lifetime to put into practice. You are not supposed to get it all at once. If you are struggling with online harms, find someone to talk to. I've included resources from Google and other community organizations in the video description for you to learn more. Because in terms of growing up on the internet, your generation, without a doubt, has it the hardest. The internet today is growing so fast that even the adults don't really know what to do with it. So please, seek support if you need to. Even if it means getting someone to buy you bak chao mi so that you feel better. Because next week is the finale of the bak chao mi series, baby! I cannot wait to share that with you guys. But for now, thank you for watching. Take care of yourselves. I'll see you guys in the next video.